Will you welcome, please, the whirlwind himself, Jimmy White?
Still love to do things my way.
Unbelievably talented.
Impulsive.
I am not frightened of nobody. There's never been an axe. That's who I am.
Jimmy's just a maverick, if you like.
Jimmy sees the championship drifting away from him.
I was sparring out of control.
It was turbulent.
I might have killed myself with the madness that was going on.
Born survivor, really.
Well, Jimmy White pulls it off.
I don't change for nobody.
Welcome back to the assembly rooms here at Derby, and as promised, our first sight of the young professional making his debut in big-time snooker, the 18-year-old from Tooting, Jimmy White.
We're filming.
And what an outstanding young prospect he is. English amateur champion when he was only 16, winner of the World Amateur title last November, at the age of 18.
Yeah, I'll just show you an old picture of me.
Enormous natural talent. Young White's turn will come, I'm sure.
I was 18, 34 years ago.
And what can you say about this man's ability?
Nice suit. Shoes have seen better days. Right, should we do a practice, yeah?
Well, this is rather an extraordinary shot. I think Jimmy White is attempting to swerve around the blue using the spider. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Always in.
Jimmy White is indeed a star of the none-too-distant future.
Natural talent. You never lose it, it just gets rusty.
So what was it like to be 18 years of age and be surrounded by this circus?
Unbelievably fantastic. I was getting, getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of money, and having a lot of fun.
Even when you were an amateur, you had the reputation of being a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
Was that a bit harsh? Were you rebellious?
Not really. I just think, I don't think I was a rebel or whatever. I enjoy myself, that's about it. I'm not a rebel.
I'd drink too much and I'd be out too late. And obviously the gambling, you'd be gambling when you're drunk, so you're making terrible mistakes. But I sort of quieted down with the gambling, and it went to the nightclubs and messing about, seeing that side of life. But there was just a lot of drinking going on. I can't really remember, to be quite honest with you. I was here, there and everywhere, and it was getting to stages where you're going to Marbella for the weekend, and it was getting a bit wild. It was getting a bit too crazy, so it was getting harder to win, and obviously the spending and you're not winning, and the lifestyle still carried on. Losing made me more determined to try and win again, so probably I worked harder.
How long would you be doing this for a match?
Say half an hour, 3/4 of an hour.
I think he's the greatest natural snooker player that I've ever seen, and he's got a long life in front of him at the game and can only get better, I would think, so who knows what he may achieve in the future.
Do you have any kind of shot that you're particularly weak on at the moment?
No, because I've been playing well, I've been winning. I'm just the straightforward shots, I think, in practice, because just so your cue sort of goes right through the white.
It's just amazing the ability that he has. Alex Higgins is a very exciting player, but for me, Jimmy White has got all the shots. He's amazing. He never ceases to amaze you when you're watching him playing.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised at Jimmy taking the blue there. He'll have to get a snooker this very next shot. And that is an absolute cracker of a shot.
And in the final of the Mercantile, when it went 12 each, I thought, what have I done to deserve this again? Can I win a tournament or not? And lucky enough, I got a snooker on the last 2 balls. Well, once it clicked was the snooker, I fancied putting the pink wherever the white landed, because I've had a chance now, and I wanted to play the shot, and the crowd was going crazy, so I paused for about 5 seconds, then I just potted the pink, and it was going even more crazier, and I just had to pot the black. I couldn't wait, for him to settle down. I just knocked the black in.
Well, Jimmy White pulls it off. His very first world ranking tournament win. He beats Cliff Thorburn by 13 points to 12.
You know, you couldn't get more exciting than that. But that's how my life and game has always been.
Jimmy White, ladies and gentlemen.
You only had 4 channels on the TV, so you know everyone knew you really. So you was really famous, and obviously coming from a working class background, and you know, to this whole world opening up, it was quite amazing. It was brilliant, you know, and it was just a roller coaster for about 5 or 6 years, from say 84 to 88 or something.
Is money important to you?
Money important to me. To you?
A cheque for £36,000. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1987 Dulux British Open. All right, cheque for £60,000. Apologise.
In that period, you really were like rock stars, weren't you?
It felt like that kind of treatment, but obviously as you get on in life, you know, I met Ronnie Wood, who is a real rock star, and you realise what level you really are at.
Oh, hello. Great. Look very smart today.
Yes, mate.
Even O'Sullivan, yeah? To come over here
and have a little knock.
Grudge matches, they get.
Jimmy just likes to enjoy his life. He's a bit like me, really. We don't like to feel trapped. We like to kind of just feel like we can just go out and have an adventure.
I met Ronnie Wood through our daughters were the same age, and they was in the same school. They was in the same school play together.
You just lifted your head slightly. Did you feel that?
Oh, yeah. I should have kept my head still.
Yeah, just take your time with that.
I heard his daughter went to the school. I didn't think he knew anything about snooker.
Head down, can't miss.
He used to try and introduce me to all sorts of celebrities.
Oh. I think Ronnie Wood's wife phoned Jimmy White's wife up and said, "Can you get Jimmy to get him home?" Because him and Ronnie were out, you know, they'd meet at the school and boom, have a few Guinnesses, and that was out for 2 or 3 days.
Tell us a bit about the lifestyle that you lead, because it must be a bit difficult. You're away a lot of the time.
Well, I am now. It's picked up again now. Like, I'm away about 3 or 4 days a week now, all over the country.
But doesn't that put pressure on things like your marriage and that sort of thing?
No, I take my wife with me. She comes with me, so...
I suppose I've always been used to it. When I first met him, he went away a lot. So it's just something that's always been there, so it's no problem.
Jimmy, your family are playing a large part in your life in that. And then...
James, call him James.
What about your daughter? Is she aware of what's happening, that Daddy's a bit of a star?
She does realise, but she takes it in her stride. It's normal, so...
He was quite a big celebrity in those days. But yeah, obviously I don't really know any different, but I know obviously that it's not normal. But I guess it was normal to me type thing. But it was all obviously late nights and parties, and I was obviously very young.
2 of my daughters still live with me now, and we had... My eldest is 31, and then they go 25, 24 and 23. We had 3 children quite close, and me and my wife, we had, because of my behaviour, we had an up and down relationship, a love-hate relationship all the time. You know, we'd split up. I must have refurnished 50 flats, you know, over the years. But, you know, she's a wonderful woman, a wonderful mother.
It takes a special type of woman to live with someone like Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy's lovely and beautiful, but, you know, she must have been sitting there thinking, when is he coming home?
It was turbulent. They're both very similar characters, unfortunately.
I was never a bad person. You know, the only person I really caused grief with was myself. But I did, you know, we used to... I used to go missing, you know, which is not... You know, is a bad thing to do, but I'd only be drinking or gambling. I wouldn't be up to the terrible things that people do when they go missing. I'd be sitting indoors thinking, you know, I had a lovely home. I had my dream home, swimming pool, snooker table, all the stuff that I dreamt, you know, that I wanted. And but when I was at home, I just thought I could be out and about, you know, probably very selfish. You know, because I always wanted the action, really.
We understood that he was away working. My mum always explained that he was working.
And he'd always sort of come back loads of presents and tell us about where he'd been. Obviously, China's a big competition, isn't it? So he'd bring us back Chinese dresses, take us to Chinatown all dressed up together, yeah.
Probably on his behalf it might have been a guilt thing from being away, but we never felt that he should ever feel guilty because obviously we were so looked after and happy.
My sisters and brother had a much more normal, I'd say, childhood because I think they'd grown up, my mum and dad, to a certain degree by then.
He'd never want us to worry about anything at all, ever. And obviously he's only, although he's away, he's only at the other end of the phone. But we'll ring and know if he's away or not just from the dial tone. Oh,
yeah, we won't actually know where
around.
he is. He would ring me, because I'm here the most. He'd ring me and tell me, oh, I'm back on Tuesday, make sure the house is spotless. So I'm rushing around cleaning.
And it won't be Tuesday.
And Wednesday comes, I'm calling him, what's happening? He wouldn't come back for another week.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
The kids didn't know no different because I've always been away playing snooker. So for them to see their dad go out the door and not come back for a week was nothing unusual. But obviously it was very hard on my ex-wife. And I apologise for that.
Final frame, Jimmy White to break.
I think if I'd have won in '82, the way I was performing, you know, I might have killed myself, you know, because I'd have gone right to the very edge with the madness that was going on.
Maybe he got success too soon and maybe thinking that, you know, he had nothing to prove, winning the World Championships, and might have kind of got distracted and lost his way.
Do you think it actually might have saved your life, literally?
I think the '82 one, yeah. If I'd have been world champion in '82, I would have been 20. I think it might have been too much for me, yeah.
I've heard him say things like that. I'm not quite sure what he means by that, and I wouldn't particularly ask him, but it's interesting, isn't it?
So Jimmy White concedes a truly superb semi-final.
I just think he come up against someone who was destined to produce moments of brilliance like he did Alex Higgins at clearance there. I don't think anybody else would have been able to do that. But the Crucible's like that. Strange things happen there and you have to come through them moments.
I seem to have my feet a bit more on the ground now. I'm like, my affairs are sort of sorted out and I'm just sort of practising my snooker and trying to become a winner. My biggest ambition is to win the World Championships. Then I won the English amateurs and the World amateurs and the World Professional. Then I can relax then.
The gambling started for me when I was about 14.
I wasn't skipping school, it was all legal.
I'd be off again on my antics.
I can't really believe how I keep getting beat by so many mugs.
It was like Tiger being let out the cage.
I'm worth every penny. They certainly knew how to make snooker confusing in those days, Jamie. They certainly did. Have a look at the grain on that.
I've been on the road all my life, really, you know, so I intend to travel most of the year.
That is the only thing this way. It's the world in £100! Jimmy White!
He's brilliant, you know, he just loves to perform, he loves, and he's a pro as well.
Well, it's not like life or death, you know what I mean, but...
you want to win, don't you?
We all want to win, yeah.
Where's this red going? Where's this red ball going?
You know, whenever you go to do these stuff, you know, these exhibitions, he's always giving value for money to the crowd, and, you know, he enjoys being there. He's got a massive following all over the world, whether it's China, Bangkok. I mean, I've been places at Germany, you know, they adore him.
Yeah, how are you?
Thanks, Jim.
Pleasure. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, darling.
Because he's never had any, you know, negativity when we're out. It's always been a nice feeling, a nice thing, you know, he's really liked.
You're moving from place to place to place. That doesn't worry you?
No, it's because I've been doing it since I was about 15, see? So you get used to it in the end.
Looking back, do you think you were happy at that point?
Was I happy? Sometimes, sometimes not. A balance, you know.
When were you not?
When you're recovering from a hangover. I'd go away to tournaments and then I'd go crazy again because I was out of the house and I could let loose, and so that made it even more harder for me to win, because I was spending a lot of time at home, and then when I go away to the tournaments it was like, you know, a tiger being let out the cage. I'd be off again on my antics.
And you're young and you just think, you know what, I just want to be out with the lads. And that's, you know, that's why people loved him, because he was just, you know, just played snooker for enjoyment and enjoyed his life off the table.
I basically have to tell him off like he's my child all the time. Yeah. A bit, which is annoying because I don't, but I'm sort of that, that's my character anyway. I'm sort of in charge and everything. And he has to sometimes say to me, like, you're not my mother. And I say, yeah. I don't want to be his mother either, but because he does have those tendencies and he's quite easily bossed around, so I just boss him around a bit, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful, like, you know, to possess somebody like him, you know what I mean? And it's lovely. It's beautiful.
My dad was a carpenter, and I always remember I was about 9 or 10 and I used to spend Friday afternoon with him, like just after school, and we used to go to this Devonshire pub in Balham, and there was a pool table there, and I sat in the corner for I think the first sort of 10 Fridays or something, and then all of a sudden I just started playing pool, and then from the Devonshire pub I found a snooker club called Zan's.
Well, when I was 13 I started playing snooker in Zan's, the local snooker club, and I sort of won a couple of competitions in about 2 years, so I aimed to be a snooker player from then.
I remember my brother brought me a bike. He said, do you want a snooker cue or a bike? I was about 13, 14. And I didn't know really what I wanted to do, but I felt all my friends had bikes, so I brought a bike. And the very next day I went down to snooker hall and it got nicked from outside the snooker hall. So that sort of, you know, made for sure then that I was just going to play snooker. I would be in a place when I was a kid for 7 or 8 hours a day. Went into this snooker hall, which was just such a fantastic atmosphere of all different characters right across the board, you know, from unsavoury characters to good characters to, you know, but they had principle amongst themselves, so it was a good education being there. In my day you could do your Christmas shopping in here. Nice to see a granddad with his grandson arguing over the scores. In them days anyone could walk into the snooker hall, so we'd be in there and the police would come in there and just say, you know, you got your uniform jacket turned inside out, get back to school and all that.
So I left school when I was about 15, and my housemaster used to let me have time off in the end, so I wasn't skipping school, it was all legal.
He made a deal with me. He said, if you go in the mornings, I'll let you have the afternoons off. Because I was about 14 then, he could see that I had talent and my actual schoolwork wasn't that good, so he knew that it was a good move for him to pursue my snooker career.
Hopping the wag from school, going in the snooker hall. I'm taking him back to school and back he's going again. Until I realised that he had got some talent, and then I encouraged him.
Did it worry you then?
Yes, definitely.
What, the lack of education?
Well, not only that, at the point I didn't think the atmosphere was right for a young boy in the snooker hall that age.
A regular day for me would be in the snooker hall, win 300 or 400 quid off somebody, then go to the Dogs, and then if you won any money there you'd go to the casino, and if you had more money there you'd go and play in private card games, you know. It wouldn't be surprising that at 14, 15 years of age, and this is like 35 years ago, to have £1,000 in your pocket, you know, and having no idea the value of money at all. It was, so it was just trying to make it 10,000, or if it went to nothing it didn't make no difference, because the next day you was in a sort of situation where there was gambling again, you know.
So even from teenage years, the gambling was there?
The gambling started for me when I was about 14, and it stopped about 45 minutes ago. No. The environment was fascinating for me, but my biggest thrill was just potting balls. You know, from the age of 12, my love for the game has not changed. It's gone up and down over the years, but the full love for the game is still there.
You're ambitious.
I want to win the world. If I win the World Championships this year, I'll be the youngest player to win it.
Jimmy says that his main ambition now is to win the world title. Above all else, do you think he will?
I think the public thinks he's good enough. And I nearly said something then, but I hope so.
Davis, for me, was the hardest player to beat. He, at my best, and he was the toughest player. You know, I played Ronnie O'Sullivan. Okay, Ronnie O'Sullivan can annihilate you. But to me, Davis had a sort of a very all-round game.
Jimmy sees the championship now drifting away from him.
I lost to Steve Davis 18-16. Wasn't bothered at all. In my mind, I thought there was no problem at all.
A great performance then by Steve Davis.
That's an amazing reaction to say you weren't bothered.
Well, because I just thought it was close. It was close enough. He won 18-16, and he fell over the line, sort of thing. It could have gone either way. And if I'd have played okay the first session, instead of going for 12-4 down, it might have been a different story. But you know, he held the trophy that year. I wasn't bothered at all. I didn't think it'd be no problem at all.
Commiserations, Jimmy. It's his first final.
What was the balance between partying and snooker?
There weren't no balance. No disrespect to the players that I beat, but my preparation was bad, you know, and obviously if I had my time again I would have prepared better and I'd have won more tournaments, but there was no balance at all, you know. I was pretty selfish in a way where if I practiced I thought I could still go and drink and party and I'd be okay, but obviously it catches up on you.
So how much then do you think your style of play as it developed was a reflection of your character?
Big time, big time.
10, Jimmy White.
You know, it's just a joke how I keep getting beat. I can't really believe how I keep getting beat by so many mugs. No disrespect to some of the players, I just can't believe it.
I made it so exciting, you know, it was always double or none, or, you know, this big particular shot. Yeah, it was a mug's way of doing it, really, but it was the way that I got my thrill from. What I would do is, especially during the World Championships, I'd have half a lager before I'd go out to play, and then when the interval come, I'd go in the players' room, I'd have half a lager, then I'd walk to the WPBSA room and have half a lager, then I'd go to the embassy room, have half a lager. So by the time I'd gone back on, I'd had like 2.5 pints, you know, but that used to settle me. But if people just thought I was walking about, my people who was in my corner, my family, and that just thought I was just walking around saying hello, you know, just because I wasn't one of these people who just to sit in the dressing room and analyse the match. So I'd go on and I'd had 2.5 pints or something, which obviously over 2 weeks period would catch up with you. It's never been an act. That's who I am, you know. I'm just me. I just, you know, I play the way I do. I act the way I act. You know, I don't change my, you know, my spots for nobody.
Jimmy will never change. Never, he'll just be the same plain Jimmy.
You know, my Jimmy's has always been solid in his mind. If he wants to do something, he'll do something. Oh, he'll get there.
I was in the shower and I felt this small lump. I went to my doctor. He said, yeah, I don't like that at all.
He was like the first rock star snooker player along with Alex Higgins.
To me, he was my idol. It was so sad to see at the end. I was never taught anything. I never had any technique. Mine was just, I just learnt to play myself just by potting balls.
When my children ask him, you know, how do you do that? How do you screw back, or how do you do a banana shot, whatever, he can show them, but he actually can't explain it.
Oh, great shot from Jimmy White.
So even in all that time, still he can't say, well, you've got to, you know, do this or do that. He just says, you just do that. And it's just obviously natural to him. I'm like, yeah, okay. How do you do that?
Sometimes I'll get down to play a shot and knowing it's the wrong shot, and it's so hard to refuse one because I know if it went in, I'd win the game quicker. You know?
He just kind of brought a whole different meaning to the game. You know, you see Jimmy walk in after, you know, he wouldn't play for 6 weeks, walk in with his suit, pick his cue up, within one frame, knocks a maximum in, goes and wins a tournament while everyone else is doing 6 hours practice a day, and it was just like, you just couldn't get your head around it, you know. So Jimmy was just a maverick, if you like. Lots of cue power, can create breaks, you know, make lots of 100 breaks, the 147s. You know, he's got every shot in the book.
Oh, and that's a beautiful shot there.
As my career got on and I was winning tournaments, I'd have won so many more tournaments if I'd have sort of pulled the reins in a bit, but I used to like to go for my shots.
He was under tremendous pressure out there.
And that was a bit undisciplined.
That was the buzz that I got. I still go for far too many now, but that's what turned me on playing the game. That was my thrill of pushing the boat out.
Great player, this young fella. Very much in the Alex Higgins mould. Likes to go for his shots.
40.
Likes to play them as quick as possible. In fact, I'm told that Alex Higgins
15.
has bet £300 that Jimmy White will win this particular match.
He literally, you know, it's like he was like the first rock star snooker player along with Alex Higgins. They were very different, but in their charisma they were the same, you know, because they were like, you know, the people's champion, if you like. They played with their heart on their sleeve. I think he looked at Jimmy as a younger brother and someone that was going to carry the mantle on from him.
My Jimmy has made his game around Mr. Alex Higgins, and no way would I ever say that that man was wrong, you know what I mean?
To me, he was my idol. You know, as a snooker player, he played the game different to anybody else. He was a great shot maker. He made the game of snooker. Without Alex Higgins, snooker wouldn't be as popular as it is.
If I knew you were coming out of bake the cake, bake the cake, bake the cake. If I knew you were coming out of bake the cake, 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 cake.
He was my idol. Then I met him and we become pals. And we had our ups and downs. And unfortunately, he was his own worst enemy, you know. And it was so sad to see at the end, but you know, Higgins was his own man, and you know, and if he refused help, so that was the way he was.
Jimmy loved Alex, and I know how much he tried to do for him when no one else would. You know, Jimmy would go and do lots of exhibitions here and put himself out just to try and help Alex in a way.
How difficult to deal with was the manner of his death?
It was terrible because he died of malnutrition. He beat the throat cancer, but his sister would get him food. You know, I'd done things for him as much as I could. You know, I'd give him dough, but I mean, you know, he was a gambler, so that wasn't probably the thing to do. I offered him to come to London, and we had people do things for him, but ultimately he went back to Belfast. He beat the throat cancer. His sister would like bring food for him and try and look after him, but he didn't sort of look after himself, and he died of malnutrition, which is you know, a fucking liberty this day and age. I was in the shower and I just felt this small lump. I went to my doctor. Dr. Draper, and he said, yeah, I don't like that at all. And I literally went to Ashtead Hospital. They said they didn't like it, and I was literally operated within 48 hours. I'd had the operation, and they found out that it was cancerous. So I was very lucky to have caught it very early, and then for the next 5 years you go and have tests every 6 months, and then it becomes, after 2 years, it becomes yearly. So you know, to be around cancer and see, you know, this devastating disease, what it does to everybody, definitely a wake-up call. So it just puts everything in perspective. You know, you just 1 minute you're going along, everything's wonderful, and then all of a sudden you walk into cancer and it just knocks you for 6. But I was very lucky that I didn't go through too much treatment. I just had an operation. I lost my brother. He was quite young, sort of, you know, to watch my parents see them lose a child, you know, that was very difficult to sort of watch. But we had quite a bad time, so it was quite, it's quite a sore word for us.
When you lost your brother, did you lose your mother quickly afterwards?
Yeah, my mum died about four months after, yeah. She sort of died of a broken heart.
I remember him being quite cut up about that, because it was in a short period of time that he lost his brother and his mum. And it's hard to see your parents upset about anything, but that's really the only time I've ever seen him quite down about it. I think it was just that it was a shock and it came around quite quickly.
My mum was my best friend. You know, she was absolutely, you know, just a wonderful, wonderful woman. Everybody loved her, friends, family, neighbours.
He was like a hero to them and the whole family, and even as a very young person, obviously he had to take on a lot. But he's close to his brothers and sisters and everything, and they're a very close family, but it's not, obviously it's a completely different childhood that they had than what we have.
What's it like for you watching him? Do you get very worked up?
Well, I'm like his mother, like, you know what I mean? You can't watch him properly, you know what I mean? Yeah, and, yeah, it's, you know, well, naturally you get worked up, you know.
My dad was very proud. He died, he was 88, and he lived with me and my sister for the last 10 years of his life. And but prior to that, he'd come with me for 25 years. But no, my life was good. You know, it was good fun. It was a close family.
Do you find yourself getting nervous?
When he loses, there's a little tear. When he wins, we're happy, you know. So naturally, you're nervous all the time, aren't you?
Well, that must be the happiest man in the arena, with the possible exception of you, Jimmy.
Yeah, he looked very delighted then, my dad.
He follows you everywhere, doesn't he?
I take him to most tournaments. I can't take him abroad and that, but he goes to most of the tournaments all over the country with me. Yeah.
Why can't you take him abroad?
Well, I took him to Canada once, and it was, you know, it was 2 weeks away from home, and that. So, you know, I get tired, so he must get very tired. I was consistent from day one in the tournament. I kept my game together all the way through the tournament. Like, I was potting, consistent, safety was good, no, just perfect.
But there it is, just listen to that applause for a really wonderful champion. So Jimmy White, the new United Kingdom champion.
It was very important to win that. I've been playing in it 12 years and I've been beaten in the finals twice, so I needed to win that one.
It's about time.
Without being Larry, I was just too good. You know, I could be struggling and I could hit one good shot and it all clicked back into form, you know, and my action would come back, my cue action, and it would stay there. Because mine was all about touch and feel, you know. So that was a natural talent, so very, very lucky.
I am not frightened of nobody. I'm enjoying playing snooker, so, you know, send him up.
This Scottish kid called Stephen Hendricks come along.
He's beginning to annoy me. He still believes he's going to win the world title.
I'm still chasing the dream of being world champion.
Nicknamed the Whirlwind, Jimmy White admits to having led a hectic life of drinking and gambling and has been convicted of drink driving.
And in terms of the old demons, the old addictions, how are you now?
Well, I don't smoke. That's why I've put on so much pudding. I very rarely drink, and gambling, I have no interest whatsoever.
Looking back, does it feel like you've come through this kind of almighty storm and now you're kind of in the calm, or not?
No, not in the calm. No, I still love to do things my way, but my main buzz now is playing snooker. It's always been playing snooker, but I just used to, just get lost in different avenues. But my main buzz is playing snooker, and I still love it as much now as when I was 15.
As well as a snooker, where are you? What kind of place are you in your life generally?
I'm in a fantastic place at the moment. I have a beautiful girlfriend in Southampton. I live there 3 days a week, and I'm like 3 or 4 days in Epsom. I've got my 2 daughters live with me. I have my son at the weekends.
Your lad all right, is he?
Yeah, great. Yeah, he's at boarding school now.
He tries to change the game up a little bit and entertain more people.
Andy! How are you, mate?
But it's good that he's going out and still, at what age he is, achieving what he's doing. He's working hard for my education, and that proper drives him on.
He's all for university, like, you must go to university. And when I'm saying about my sisters, like, they should be getting jobs, he says, no, they should be studying. They're young, they should just go back and do as much as they can. And I think, oh, okay. But I guess that's just from having no education. He's so sort of for learning as much as possible and getting as many qualifications as you can. And yeah, it's very important to him. And also that's perhaps the only normal parenting that he's done, maybe.
This tag, the People's Champion, do you look on that tag fondly?
Yeah.
Oh, partner.
Why do you think people, the public at large, took you to their hearts?
I just think, I can be at home with anybody. It doesn't matter who they are, or wherever they come from. I'm just a normal fella, living the dream.
Will you welcome, please, the whirlwind himself, Jimmy White?
The majority of the public, felt for me, because, they knew I was giving it my best, and still playing the way I was playing. Then this Scottish kid called Stephen Hendry's come along, potting them off the lampshades.
Stephen Hendry, 18 years old and without question the most dazzling talent to illuminate the game since Jimmy White 6 years ago.
He's brilliant, he's fearless, and people think they play 2 or 3 safety shots. It's a part of the game to play safe, but he'd play a few safety shots and all of a sudden an opponent would play a few safety shots. All of a sudden he'd knock one in sort of off the lampshade or something, and all of a sudden they're gone, Yeah. And I love that sort of scene. I love the way he plays. I think it's fantastic and very dangerous.
He won 18-12. He just sort of out-potted and outplayed me. He'd come from nowhere. He'd just come on the scene. And, he was just a fabulous potter, Stephen Hendry. I've never seen anyone pot so many crisp balls as him.
You said after the first final, I wasn't bothered. When did you start to become bothered?
I was bothered when Parrott beat me, even though he played very well, because I was a big favourite and I was playing some real good stuff. He went 7-0 up the first session playing fantastic snooker, and I could never catch him, so he deserved to win. Obviously, losing from 14-8 up with Hendry, I was sitting in my seat and I was literally thinking who I'm going to thank and who I'm not going to thank. And then all of a sudden I sort of completely collapsed. And he got stronger and he won 10 on the spin. So that's always been a hard one to swallow.
As Stephen goes out in a blaze of glory.
I think the hardest battles was keep coming back to the World Championships, to keep coming back year after year. It's that took courage, and I just think it was unfortunate that he came up in an era when Stephen Hendry was playing, because if it wouldn't have done, I'm sure he would have won the world title.
29.
Got myself in a winning situation, and then Twitch, that's another one that it's been a nightmare. I was 17 each with him, and I was, you know, more or less won it, and I twitched on the black. I rushed the black.
Jimmy White, 29.
Well, did he see the title there, Dennis?
Dear me, that was just a little bit of tension.
17 all at the Crucible, having had all them finals already under his belt that he hadn't won, that black was missable. Trust me, anything's missable.
Well, you saw Jimmy's face then. No explanation needed.
And under that pressure, you sometimes can't even feel your body, your arms, your fingers. You're so tight sometimes. You know, it wasn't a weakness of Jimmy.
Stephen Hendry has proved once again that he's the best player in the world. His Embassy World Championship, he's won by 18 frames to 17 in one of the best finals you're ever likely to see.
Even when I lost, you know, I'd have grown men crying in my hotel rooms and that, you know, where they couldn't really get round it.
Well, yeah, I'm delighted for Stephen Hendry, but I could cry for this gentleman sitting in the chair there.
I got as much excitement by playing the way I played as the people who watched it. And I think as the years went on, they started to feel sorry for me, keep getting beat.
Jimmy, what can I say apart from happy birthday?
He's beginning to annoy me.
I still get people come up to me now, you know, and they're devastated, but once they shake my hand and I sort of reassure them, you know, that there's worse things happening in life and we're all right.
I'll be back next year, that's all I can say.
It must be very disappointing for him, but you wouldn't know it from, you know, every time he talks about it or his career or anything. You wouldn't necessarily think that it was a bad thing, and I think it's just one of those things. It wasn't meant to be, not his destiny rather than anything else. Just not meant to be.
I'm proud of getting to 6 finals. I've won 10 ranking tournaments. I've won 46 invitation tournaments. I've won the world doubles, the world match play, you know, the world amateurs. You know, it's this one tournament, obviously our Blue Ribbon tournament. It's one that I'm still chasing. I'm still chasing the dream of being world champion. You know, to get to 6 finals of a game like snooker, playing the style of play I do, it's a feat in itself.
Jimmy is one of the most optimistic people I know. He still believes he's going to win the world title, and to have that belief in yourself is a good asset to have.
If I didn't think I could win, I wouldn't play. And realistically, you know, my boat has sailed.
In my heart, I'd love to see it happen, but in my mind and, you know, knowing what it's like to go through that and knowing the standard of play, the type of players that are around, to me, I think it's highly unlikely. You know, but you know, that's not because he's not good enough. It's just that it's a physical thing more. I think, you know.
I still feel that if you can get it together and just, you know, keep practicing, keep working on your technique, which I'm doing at the moment, and I'm winning the games. So who knows? You know, I mean, I haven't given up yet. I haven't given up. And as long as my game's still there, there's no reason why I can't go on and win the World Championships. Obviously, you've got some fellow called Ronnie O'Sullivan there, who's in your way now, and you know, likes of John Higgins. It's a lot harder, but it's not impossible.
I can't see him wanting to give it up anytime soon. And he sort of moans and pretends that he doesn't like the travelling, and he, you know, oh, I've had to. And I think, oh, come on. He actually loves it. He could not do it, if you see what I mean. Even if he's got a couple of days off, he's itchy, you know, when he's going next, what he's doing. And that's his life.
You wouldn't go back and sacrifice all the parties and the good times, being the person that the public love, to be a world champion. You wouldn't lose all that. You wouldn't swap it.
No, I wouldn't swap anything, no.
No regrets?
No regrets at all.
Sum up the life of Jimmy White, if you can.
Just like a whirlwind.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Always fucking spinning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy White.
Another famous sports star's profiled next Tuesday night at 10 in more Sports Life Stories. Next tonight, 2 cops, 1 woman and a very shady underworld make for a great 90s crime thriller. LA Confidential is next on ITV4.